तीसरा एक्स्ट्राऑर्डिनरी पावर होगी, और चौथा मोरालिटी प्रिंसिपल, वैल्यू, कैरेक्टर, एथिक्स पे ईमानदार आदमी बनेगा वो। गांधी कहते थे, जब भी तकलीफों से घिर जाता हूं, जब भी आसपास परेशानियां आ जाती हैं, अकेला महसूस करता हूं, लक्ष्य दिखना बंद हो जाता है, तभी गीता खोल के पढ़ता हूं, तुरंत विजन क्लियर हो जाता है।
So every young man or lady is going to have confusions. Every young person is going to have those dilemmas, to do or not to do, to be or not to be. That's exactly how the Gita begins. It begins with confusion, it begins with dilemmas, it begins with a lack of meaning. Right? And then Krishna kind of guides Arjun through and empowers Arjun to make his own choices.
Ankit, now you can start.
Hello and welcome everyone to our session today. Last time, this is the second session, third session for Gita reading course, Gita course today. We had our last session on last weekend, and this is the third session. So right now we will start with some general instructions, and then we will move further. Okay. So as you all know that we will have shloka recitation for 15 minutes, then we will welcome the speaker, then of course the speaker will give his class, and then we will have a vote of thanks and a question answer session. And then for 15 minutes we will invite or bring different alumni for the session. So every session is going to be in this above format. Every session will be for 2 hours, that is 120 minutes. Session will be conducted on 7 weekends, as you all know, and this is the second weekend for that. And you know, as you know that Bhagavad Gita has 18 chapters, so we will try to cover the whole Bhagavad Gita, at least at least 2 chapters in one course sometimes, so that we can complete it in a span of 7 weeks. And this is a very certified course. So as you all know that all those who will have 75% attendance or above will only get the certificate for this session, for this course. So I would like to introduce our shloka recitator, his Mr. Bhuvnesh. So before handing over him the mic, I would like to tell his qualifications, that he is a student of Acharya Kulam in Patanjali Yoga Peeth, Haridwar, currently studying at Acharya Kulam in 12th, and he got 99.4% in CBSE in class 10. He has won several.
Ankit, sorry to interrupt you. Now he is in St. Stephen's. He has already passed out from Acharya Kulam.
Okay.
Now he is in St. Stephen's first year, and he is pursuing his bachelor's in Sanskrit. And he is very dear student of Baba Ramdev ji. He is very dear student of him. So Bhuvnesh, you can start reciting the shlokas. This is our this way we every session we proceed. First we recite some important shlokas from respective chapter. As you all know that today is chapter 3. So we are going to recite some important shlokas from chapter 3. Then we will hand over our mic to our today's speaker. Thank you so much. Over to Bhuvnesh.
Thank you, Prabhuji. I would like to request Divanshu to recite slokas, and I will read translation. Then, okay, Divanshu.
Niyatam kur karma tvam karma sayo karmanaha शरीर यात्रापि च ते न प्रसिद्ध्येद कर्मणः।
शब्दार्थ नियतम नियत, कुरु करो, कर्म कर्तव्य, त्वम तुम, कर्म कर्म करना, ज्यायः श्रेष्ठ, ही निश्चय ही, अकर्मणः काम न करने की अपेक्षा, शरीर शरीर का, यात्रा पालन, निर्वाह, अपि भी, च भी, ते तुम्हारा, न कभी नहीं, प्रसिद्धेयत सिद्ध होता, अकर्मणः बिना काम के। अनुवाद, अपना नियत कर्म करो, क्योंकि कर्म न करने की अपेक्षा कर्म करना श्रेष्ठ है। कर्म के बिना तो शरीर निर्वाह भी नहीं हो सकता।
अर्थात् कर्मणो नेत्र लोकोऽयं कर्म बन्धनः। तदर्थं कर्म कौन्तेय मुक्त संगः समाचर।
यज्ञ अर्थात एकमात्र यज्ञ या विष्णु के लिए किया गया। कर्मणः कर्म की अपेक्षा, अन्यत्र अन्यथा, लोकः संसार, अयम यह, कर्म बंधनः कर्म के कारण बंधन, तत् उस, अर्थम के लिए, कर्म कर्म, कौन्तेय हे कुंती पुत्र, मुक्त संगः संग, फलाकांक्षा से मुक्त, समाचर भली भांति आचरण करो। अनुवाद, श्री विष्णु के लिए यज्ञ रूप में कर्म करना चाहिए, अन्यथा कर्म के द्वारा इस भौतिक जगत में बंधन उत्पन्न होता है। अतः हे कुंती पुत्र, अपनी प्रसन्नता के लिए अपने नियत कर्म करो, इस तरह तुम बंधन से सदा मुक्त रहोगे।
यज्ञार्थात् कर्मणो यज्ञशिष्ठासिनः सन्तो मुच्यन्ते सर्वकिल्बिषैः भुञ्जते ते त्वघं पापा ये पचन्त्यात्मकारणात्।
शब्दार्थ, यज्ञ शिष्ट, यज्ञ संपन्न करने के बाद ग्रहण किए जाने वाले भोजन को, अशिनः खाने वाले, संतः भक्तगण, मुच्यन्ते छुटकारा पाते हैं, सर्व सभी तरह के, क्लिबिशैहि पापों से, भुंजते भोगते हैं, ते वे, तु लेकिन, अघम घोर पाप, पापाह पापी जन, ये जो, पचंती भोजन बनाते हैं, आत्म कारणात इंद्रिय सुख के लिए। अनुवाद, भगवान के भक्त सभी प्रकार के पापों से मुक्त हो जाते हैं, क्योंकि वे यज्ञ में अर्पित किए गए भोजन को ही खाते हैं। अन्य लोग जो अपने इंद्रिय सुख के लिए भोजन बनाते हैं, वे निश्चित रूप से पाप खाते हैं।
अन्नात् भवन्ति भूतानि पर्जन्यादन्न संभवः यज्ञात् भवति पर्जन्यो यज्ञः कर्म समुद्भवः।
शब्दार्थ, अन्नात् अन्न से, भवन्ति उत्पन्न होते हैं, भूतानि भौतिक शरीर, पर्जन्यात् वर्षा से, अन्न अन्न का, संभवः उत्पादन, यज्ञात् यज्ञ से संपन्न करने से, भवति संभव होती है, पर्जन्यः वर्षा, यज्ञः यज्ञ का संपन्न होना, कर्म नियत कर्तव्य से, समुद्भवः उत्पन्न होता है। अनुवाद, सारे प्राणी अन्न पर आश्रित है जो वर्षा से उत्पन्न होता है। वर्षा यज्ञ संपन्न करने से होती है और यज्ञ नियत कर्मों से उत्पन्न होता है।
यद्यदाचरति श्रेष्ठस्तत्तदेवेतरो जनः स यत् प्रमाणं कुरुते लोकस्तदनुवर्तते।
यत यत जो आचरति करता है, श्रेष्ठः आदरणीय नेता, तत् वही, तत् तथा, केवल वही, एव निश्चय ही, इतरः सामान्य, जनः व्यक्ति, सह वह, यत जो कुछ, प्रमाणम उदाहरण आदर्श, कुरुते करता है, लोकः सारा संसार, तत् उसके, अनुवर्तते पद चिन्हों का अनुसरण करता है। अनुवाद, महापुरुष जो आचरण करता है, सामान्य व्यक्ति उसी का अनुसरण करते हैं। वह अपने अनुसरणीय कार्यों से जो आदर्श प्रस्तुत करता है, संपूर्ण विश्व उसका अनुसरण करता है।
प्रकृतेर्क्रियमाणानि गुणैः कर्माणि सर्वशः अहंकार विमूढ़ात्मा कर्ताहमिति मन्यते।
शब्दार्थ: प्रकृतेः, प्रकृति का, क्रियमाणानि, किए जाकर, गुणैः, गुणों के द्वारा, कर्माणि, कर्म, सर्वशः, सभी प्रकार के, अहंकार विमूढ़, अहंकार से मोहित, आत्मा, आत्मा, कर्ता, करने वाला, अहम, मैं हूँ, इति, इस प्रकार, मन्यते, सोचता है। अनुवाद: जीवात्मा अहंकार के प्रभाव से मोहग्रस्त होकर अपने को समस्त कार्यों का कर्ता मान बैठता है, जबकि वास्तव में प्रकृति के तीनों गुणों द्वारा संपन्न किए जाते हैं।
अर्जुन उवाच अथ केन प्रयुक्तोऽयं पापं चरति पूरुषः अनिच्छन्नपि वार्ष्णेय बलादिव नियोजितः।
अर्जुनः उवाच, अर्जुन ने कहा, अथ, तब, केन, किसके द्वारा, प्रयुक्तः, प्रेरित, अयम, यह, पापम, पाप, चरति, करता है, पुरुषः, व्यक्ति, अनिच्छन, न चाहते हुए, अपि, यद्यपि, वाष्णेय, हे वृष्णिवंशी, बलात्, बलपूर्वक, इव, मानो, नियोजितः, लगाया गया। अनुवाद: अर्जुन ने कहा, हे वृष्णिवंशी, मनुष्य न चाहते हुए भी पाप कर्मों के लिए प्रेरित क्यों होता है? ऐसा लगता है कि उसे बलपूर्वक उनमें लगाया जा रहा हो।
श्री भगवानुवाच काम एष क्रोध एष रजोगुण समुद्भवः महाशनो महापाप्मा विद्येनमिह वैरिणम्।
अनुवाद: श्री भगवान उवाच, श्री भगवान ने कहा, कामः, विषय वासना, एषः, यह, क्रोधः, क्रोध, एषः, यह, रजः, गुण, रजोगुण से, समुद्भवः, उत्पन्न, महाअशनः, सर्वभक्षी, महापाप्मा, महान पापी, विद्धि, जानो, एनम, इसे, इह, इस संसार में, वैरिणम, महान शत्रु। श्री भगवान ने कहा, हे अर्जुन, इस कारण यजोगुण के संपर्क से उत्पन्न काम है, जो बाद में क्रोध का रूप धारण करता है और जो इस संसार का सर्वभक्षी पापी शत्रु है। थैंक यू प्रभु जी।
थैंक यू सो मच एवरीवन। आप सभी ने श्लोका रिसाइट किया हम सभी के साथ, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद आपका। So Hare Krishna, we welcome you all in today's Hare Krishna. So we welcome you all in today's third day of Gita session, Gita course, and today I am very privileged and honored to welcome amongst us His Grace Madhava Murari Prabhu. His material name is please forgive me if I am not pronouncing right correctly, because Russian pronunciation is a bit different. Mikhail Mishanin. Am I right?
Yes, you're 100% right.
So I'll introduce you, Prabhuji, as a small brief introduction about you. He has got his higher education in law in Saratov Law Academy in 2005. Later, after his graduation, he has joined ISKCON in 2006, and to help the humanity and world at large by spreading message of Bhagavad Gita in the world. And he takes many educational seminars, and he also conducts many educational programs in all over the world, basically in various parts of Russia, like Moscow, Vologda, and many parts of Russia. Many parts which we don't know, which we don't pronounce also. So, and he conducts educational program and does translation service of Indian ancient scriptures He does translation of our Indian ancient scriptures. He has done deep study of Indian ancient scriptures. Last 2 years before, he came to India and he stayed here for around 6 months. And he has done deep studies of our ancient Vedic scriptures. So he's very well versed in Vedic scriptures. So today we welcome him. We are very honored and privileged that he is joining us directly from Russia. Now he's based in Vologda, and he is joining us from there. Thank you so much for accepting our invitation, Prabhuji. Now I'll hand over mic to Madhava Murari Prabhu. Now it's over to you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, dear friends, dear audience. After such nice introduction, I don't know. The best way is to finish the session because in order not to spoil the impression, you know, the impression. Yeah, okay, but we will anyway. We will conduct the session. Oma Gyana Timirandasya, Gyananjana Shalakaya, Chakshur Unmilitam Yena, Tasmaya Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manov Pishtam, Stapitam Yena Bhutale, Svaya Rupa Kadama Yam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha, Kripa Sinubhya Eva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavabhyo Namo Namaha. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vas Adigaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtхая Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nityanamine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyate Deshatarine. So now it is turn to discuss the third chapter of Bhagavad Gita. It is exactly what we're going to do now. And here you can see the verse from Bhagavad Gita 3.30, which we will read and read the purport and we'll comment it and discuss it from practical point of view. Bhagavad Gita 3.30. Mai sarvani karmani sanyasya dhyatma chetasa nirashir nirmamo bhutva yudhyasva vigata jvarach. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Abhay Charnaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Therefore, O Arjuna, surrendering all your works unto me with full knowledge of me, without desires for profit, with no claims to proprietorship, and free from lethargy, fight. Purport. This verse clearly indicates the purpose of the Bhagavad Gita. The Lord instructs that one has to become fully Krishna conscious to discharge duties as if in military discipline. Such an injunction may make things a little difficult. Nevertheless, duties must be carried out with dependence on Krishna, because that is the constitutional position of the living entity. The living entity cannot be happy independent of the cooperation of the Supreme Lord, because the eternal constitutional position of the living entity is to become subordinate to the desires of the Lord. Arjuna was therefore ordered by Sri Krishna to fight, as if the Lord were his military commander. One has to sacrifice everything for the good will of the Supreme Lord, and at the same time discharge prescribed duties without claiming proprietorship. Arjuna didn't have to consider the order of the Lord, he had only to execute his order. The Supreme Lord is the soul of all souls. Therefore, one who depends solely and wholly on the Supreme Soul without personal consideration, or in other words, one who is fully Krishna conscious, is called Adhyatma Chetasa. Nirashiyi means that one has to act on the order of the master, but should not expect fruitive results. The cashier may count millions of dollars for his employer, but he doesn't claim a cent for himself. Similarly, one has to realize that nothing in the world belongs to any individual person, but that everything belongs to the Supreme Lord. That is the real purport of Mai, or unto me. And when one acts in such Krishna consciousness, certainly he doesn't claim proprietorship over anything. This consciousness is called nirmama, or nothing is mine. And if there is any reluctance to execute such stern order, which is without consideration of so-called kinsmen in the bodily relationship, that reluctance should be thrown off. In this way, one may become vigata jvara, or without feverish mentality or lethargy. Everyone, according to his quality and position, has a particular type of work to discharge, and all such duties may be discharged in Krishna consciousness as described above. That will lead one to the path of liberation. So in the beginning of this purport, Srila Prabhupada wrote that this verse clearly indicates the purpose of the Bhagavad Gita. And the name of this chapter, the title of this chapter is Karma Yoga. So now we will discuss the structure of this chapter. And the structure is quite easy to understand. The first part of shlokas from verse number 1 and up to verse number 9. This section is called renunciation or activity, and Arjuna asks Krishna, what do you really want of me? What do you actually want of me? Should I fight or should I be renounced from activities? Because my mind is bewildered now, so please clarify. And in this particular section, in the verses from 1 until verse up to verse number 9, Krishna introduces this term karma yoga. So he compares karma yoga with karma kanda in the verses from 10 to 16, and karma kanda when selfish desires are there, when we have some kind of business affairs with Supreme Personality of Godhead, when we follow some rituals, some spiritual practices and so on, but we do it just in order to get what we want. We're not so much interested in supreme will, what Krishna wants from us. And in this particular verse 3.30, which we read now, Srila Prabhupada wrote, it is the purpose of Bhagavad Gita to understand what is the supreme will and to execute this supreme will like we are on the military service. So it is karma yoga, the difference between karma yoga and karma kanda is such that karma kandi people, they are interested what I will get. What is the karma yoga according to the verses from 17 to 35? The idea of karma yoga basically it is related with such word combination as prescribed duties. Duties are prescribed to each and every living entity, to each and every human being according to his guna karma. Chatur varnya maya srishtam guna karma vibhagashaha. I myself, I divided the society in this varnas and ashramas. It is my divine system, Krishna told in Bhagavad Gita chapter number 4, I think. So we will learn it in future. So society is divided and different inclinations are here, different natures are here. So one should follow his prescribed duties. What we can do, what talents did you get from Supreme Personality of Godhead? What abilities, what capacities you have got? Psychophysical nature, guna karma vibhagashaha. Psychophysical nature, the nature of my gross body, the nature of my subtle body, my abilities and capacities of mind and intelligence. It is my subtle body, and my gross body. Some people they can play football. Some people they cannot play football. Some people can play cricket. Some people they cannot do it. Some people can dance. Some people they cannot. Some people can carry the luggage. Some people they cannot. They are more inclined to intellectual work. It depends. So guna karma, our physical and psychological nature. And it is given to each and every of us, and we should follow our nature. And in these verses from 17 to 35, the power of personal example is also mentioned. One should follow his prescribed duties and his nature and his duty, dharma, his dharma, swadharma, at least in order to set a good example. Yad yad acharati shrishthas, and so on. If one is a leader, he should be a leader. For example, if one is a preacher, he should also walk his talk. Walk his talk. It means that preacher, it is not just a person who speaks what is considered to be spoken, but he also follows the same words. Like, for example, in ISKCON, it is not so nice when people, when devotees of Krishna in ISKCON, when they sit on Vyasasana and they say that you people, you have to distribute books, Srila Prabhupada's books, you have to preach Krishna consciousness message. And after this, all people, all devotees who are inspired by this talk, they go to preach, and this particular speaker goes to his room and sleeps, takes rest, no activity. It is not so nice. So achar and prachar. Achar means our own example, and prachar means what we are speaking. So we should walk our talk, we should follow. It is related to the topic which we discuss here. Aravindaksha Madhav Prabhu asked me to present this topic from the point of view that there is such knowledge, such field of knowledge like life management. Life management. We should manage our life properly. So wisdom of Bhagavad Gita, spiritual knowledge of Bhagavad Gita helps us to understand how we can mold our life to live more happily and more meaningfully, and moreover to live with Krishna in spiritual consciousness, to realize our transcendental nature, which is we're eternal parts and particles of Krishna. So we should realize ourselves like we are these parts and particles. So our nature and our duty also, our dharma, not just to follow our guna karma, our physical and psychological nature. We should follow, we should take it in account, of course. But at the same way, the main idea is to dedicate it to Krishna, to dedicate it to Supreme. Karma yoga, it is not just like when we do something and we are trying to be not attached to the results, to the fruits of these activities. It is the difference between karma kandis and karma yogis. Karma kandis, they are attached to the results of their following of spiritual practice. They want to get something particular from Supreme Lord. It is their main motive, main idea. Why do they follow the spiritual path? But karma yogis, they are people who are trying to follow the same process, but being detached from the results. But the most higher level of consciousness, when one is not only detached from the results, but when one is ready and hankering and happy to dedicate the fruits of his work to Supreme Lord. So it was the idea of karma yoga in Krishna consciousness, which is actually becomes bhakti yoga. Karma yoga becomes bhakti yoga when the same activity is dedicated to Krishna, to Supreme Lord Shri Krishna, to Bhagavan. And the last section of this chapter, third chapter of Bhagavad Gita, it is verses from 36 to 43. It is called Beware of Lust. So lust, it is our great enemy. Kama is our greatest enemy. We have this materialistic experience from time immemorial. We are here in material world. So we gather it. We have we have this luggage, we have this experience, we have these samskaras, these vasanas, these impressions from our being in material world. So it means Supreme Lord wants something particular from us, but we have our inner impediments in our heart. Impediments means at the same way, at the same time, I want something particular for myself, just for myself. And these desires that are meant for ourselves only, sometimes they are not in the same way, in the same flow with Krishna's desires. And sometimes even these desires, our own materialistic desires, they are sinful, they are not beneficial for spiritual life. So how to be, what to do with this lust? Arjuna asks Krishna about this trouble, about this problem. And it is important to identify what is the problem in our life and what is not the problem in our life. Otherwise, we can have a problem, but if we don't know that it is problem, we will be trying to practice spiritual life without solving this problem. But problem is here. So means what? Means that we will not be progressing too quickly. So we have got some messages in our chat. Let's check our chat, what is written here. Mr. Aman Ahlavat is writing, sir, we have meet first during JC Boss University meeting. Nice to meet you, sir, again. Okay, very good. I'm also happy to be with you again. We request, Aravindak Madhav Prabhu is asking us to switch on our videos. So dear friends, dear audience, please follow his request. Please do it. Okay, we're going further. So it was the idea of what? Of Karma Yoga. And now we will be discussing the verses from Bhagavad Gita. Of course, it is not possible to discuss the whole chapter in details during this short period of time, but therefore we will be discussing some part of this chapter. Some part of this chapter.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
So
Yeah.
For this 1 hour, we are only doing an overview of chapter 3.
Yeah.
And
it was the overview.
Yeah, and tomorrow we will do an overview of chapter 4 and chapter 5. And the rest of the week, in weekdays from Monday to Friday, we have created an Bhagavad Gita reading group. We have created, and in that many of the students, they have already joined. So from weekdays, like from Monday to Friday, we read each and every shloka. So from upcoming Monday to Friday, we are going to cover whole chapter 3, chapter 4, and chapter 5.
Shloka very good.
Shloka. Yeah.
Very good. And what does it mean?
It means that Saturdays and Sunday we are doing an overview, and in weekdays we are together. We are with the students. We are reading whole chapter, shloka wise shloka, so that we can get to know in each shloka what Lord Krishna is telling and what Arjuna is telling, like this. Yeah. So, dear audience, dear friends, there is no reason to be worried about, because everything will be read. Right, Aravindak Madhav Prabhu, you wanted to tell this. Yes. Right. And already we have shared the link of our chat WhatsApp group to your chat box, so you can join that WhatsApp group, and in weekdays you can join us to read Bhagavad Gita in detail. Oh, very good. Very good. But because you permitted me to quote the shlokas, so we'll cover just a little part of the chapter, not in details, just some points. Of course. Okay. Okay, we will do accordingly. Thank you very much. So here from this verse that we read now, verse number 3.30, the idea here, what is these verses are about? To work for Krishna and to follow him. What does it mean? Do your duty depending on me. Krishna is trying to inspire Arjuna, and he's trying to inspire Arjuna during all the 18 chapters of Bhagavad Gita to follow his nature of Kshatriya, and at the same time to follow his order, Krishna's order, that you please fight with what? With Duryodhana's army.
You fight with them because it is my will. So in order to inspire, he gives all this philosophy of Bhagavad Gita. And in chapter number 11, he gives very strong argument. He shows Arjuna his universal form. And after seeing this universal form, Krishna feels himself inspired very much. And Krishna explains Arjuna that actually everything is already predestined. Everything is already set. You just follow this instruction. You just follow my instruction. You just play this role. You have this particular role. You're Kshatriya. You are my friend. And now you are my disciple. Now you are my disciple because you yourself told me that you are my disciple. So follow my instruction. Mai sarvani karmani sanyasa dhyatma chetasa nirashir nirmamo bhutva yudhyasva vigata jvaraha. Vigata jvaraha. Just become free from this lethargy. Become free from this apathy, from this being. Don't be inactive. Be active. Be active. Follow this. So here we have this comment, this link. Having described about karma yoga, Krishna will now mention that ultimately he is the object of it and every activity needs to be done as an offering to him. Such karma yoga is actually bhakti yoga. Bhakti yoga is much more better than just our attempts to be selfless in our own activities according to guna karma. So here in the verses 31 and 32, Krishna explains to Arjuna what are the results, what you will get if you will follow my order, and what you will get if you will not follow my order. It is like, in management, there is negative motivation and there is positive motivation. And usually in order to make people do what boss, Krishna is supreme boss, what boss wants his employee to do, he uses two ways. He uses positive motivation, he uses negative motivation. So the result of following Krishna's teaching is mentioned in verse number 31. Muchante tepi karma bhih. It means that such person who will be following will become free from the bondage of fruitive actions. And in the verse number 32, result of disregarding Krishna's teachings mentioned sarva jnana vimudham stan vidhi nashtan achetasah. It means that this person will be bereft of all knowledge. He will be befooled and ruined in their endeavors for perfection. It means think and choose. Just use your intelligence and choose. Krishna gives a choice to conditioned living entity what to do. Here in Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna plays the role of conditioned living entity. He is eternal companion of Krishna, and he plays this role of eternal. He plays this role of conditioned living entity here, and just in order to make Krishna narrate the whole Bhagavad Gita, this Bhagavad Gita, for the benefit of all of us. So the same way, Arjuna has a choice. And by the end of Bhagavad Gita, in the chapter 18, Krishna will tell Arjuna, now I spoke you everything, I told you everything, and you just decide what to do, and you act according to your desire. And in the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes that, well, why Krishna says that you follow your desire? Because all this narration of Bhagavad Gita was meant to create the desire in Arjuna's heart, to create the desire to follow Krishna's order. When we are enlightened by spiritual knowledge, we can get proper desires in our heart, in our head, in our consciousness, in our mind, in our intelligence. Because of what? Because of spiritual enlightenment. Enlightenment means that there was darkness of ignorance, darkness of nescience. We didn't know anything. But now, after reading Bhagavad Gita, after reading Srimad Bhagavatam, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, other spiritual books, we got to know who we are, what is going around us, who is Krishna, what he wants from us, and so on. So this desire will help us in our life, and our life management will be the ideal. Ideal life management is such life management when we have Krishna in the center of our life, when we put Krishna in the center of our life, when we put his desires, his will, supreme will, in the center of our life. So in this particular case, our life will be ideal. Ideal doesn't mean that we will not face any difficulties in our life. Sometimes it will be, we will face difficulties. Sometimes life will be like absolute pleasure, enjoyment, and so on, means nice period of time. After this, it changes. Matras parshas tu kaunteya, shitoshna sukha dukhadach, agama payana nityas tam sitikshasa bharata. This verse we already know, right? From the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita. It changes, but the highest meaning of our life we can have if we dedicate our life to Krishna. And the whole Bhagavad Gita is about this. We should dedicate our activities to Krishna. We should dedicate our mind, our speech, our intelligence, our capacities, ourselves. We should dedicate to Krishna. And by the end of Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna tells to Krishna, okay, karishye vachanam tava, karishye vachanam tava, I will follow your words, I will follow your words. So it is the main idea of Bhagavad Gita. We're going further. So, and we will be speaking now about the role of these desires. We have particular desires in our heart. Some desires are beneficial, some desires are not. So it depends. And we will be speaking about this also during this presentation, short presentation, but some points we will discuss. So verses from 33 to 35 here, Krishna says to Arjuna that really one should work according to his nature. Why is it so? According to the verse number 33, verse number 33, this conditioned nature is deep-rooted. Deep-rooted. One is, we will simplify a little bit our narration. For example, one is an engineer according to his nature. One is a musician according to his nature. Another one is, I don't know, accountant according to his nature. Someone is a businessman according to his nature. And we can see from our own personal example that it is really difficult for people to act not according to his or her nature. It means that one can try to work as an accountant or as an engineer or musician and so on and so on. But if there is no particular nature, it means what? It means it will be difficult for one to succeed on this path. It will be difficult to succeed. And even if one will be successful on this path, he will not get pleasure. He will not be happy. He will not be satisfied by. Okay, I will close this program. He will not be satisfied with his attempts to play another role, not his role, another role, to follow alien's nature of another person. Sometimes out of envy, people can try to become, for example, great musicians, but they are not musicians at all according to their nature, or great writers, or great, I don't know who, great singers, great something. Envy is there. Sometimes it is one of the reasons why one can try to follow someone's nature, because of being envious to someone's success. but each and every person has his own success in life. And this particular success in life depends on particular guna karma, particular nature of living entity. So here in this particular verse 3.33, Krishna himself, he tells to Arjuna that better you follow your nature of Kshatriya, even if you will try to run away from this battlefield. Anyway, your own nature, your own conditioned nature will force you to be active, and uh, to be active according to your own kshatriya mentality, your own kshatriya methods. Anyway, if you are not going to fight with them, with Kauravas here on this battlefield, anyway, you as a kshatriya, you consider them to be your enemies, So anyway, you will have to face with this situation, with this argument. You will have to solve this argument somehow. And because you are kshatriya, you will act according to your nature. One cannot act according to someone's nature. One cannot act according to someone's nature. It is nature. It is our conditioned nature. So each and every person has his own shoes. You can see these shoes on the picture. Or for example, each and every person has his own glasses. Some people, they have glasses, some people they don't have, and these glasses are meant for a particular person, So our situation in life is our situation in life. Someone's situation in life is someone's situation in life. And even if we see someone to be successful in his particular field of life, his particular professional field, we don't know all the details of his life. Externally, it looks like he is happy, but internally, each and every success has its price, and this price is labor. Labor. one has to work. In the same Bhagavad Gita, it is written, Krishna says that in material world, each and every living entity has to work, at least to maintain himself or herself, at least for his or her livelihood. He has to work. And each and every nature, if someone has to follow his own conditioned nature, he has to be trained in this particular nature, and he also has to maintain this particular level of this nature, his level, how he can do this particular work. Otherwise, gradually, dire, he will lose this qualification. So here in the verse 35, Krishna mercifully tells Arjuna and mercifully tells to all of us, dear friends, don't imitate others, just do your duty. Maybe you think that someone's duty is more sweet than your duty, but it is not so, because if you will try to follow someone's duty, not your duty, you will face with some difficulties, and these difficulties are created mainly because it is not your job, it is not your nature. You will face it with this, and that's why this way is considered to be dangerous. And we have to conquer our enemy. Our enemy is lust. Our enemy is karma. There is supreme will. There is supreme will of Krishna, and at the same time, there are samskaras, impressions from the past, were here in material world from time immemorial. So, at the same time, simultaneously in our consciousness, we have our remembrance, what spiritual master wants from us, what Krishna wants from us, and at the same time, our own willings, our own desires are here. And here in the verse 334, Krishna he's trying to inspire Arjuna to become, to raise his consciousness, to be beyond raga and dvesha. Raga and dvesha, his likes and dislikes, like in, for example, in social networks, right? In social networks, sometimes we put likes to something, to some pictures, some videos, we put likes. Sometimes we put dislikes if this particular social network allows us to put dislike. It is not that in all the social networks there is such option. So we put these likes, dislikes in social networks, but not only in social networks. We have this habit to put likes and dislikes on everything and everyone in this material world, in this life. So what will be ideal from the point of view of life management? Life management. Let's open this verse number 334, and let's try to discuss it from practical point of view, like Aravindaksha Madhav Prabhu asked me to do it. and we will do it. That is for sure. We will change the number here, and we will open this verse 334. So here, Krishna says to Arjuna, there are principles to regulate attachment and aversion pertaining to the senses and their objects. One shouldn't come under the control of such attachment and aversion because they are stumbling blocks on the path of self-realization. There is something that we like. There is something that we don't like. But there is something that Krishna likes, that Supreme Lord likes, and it is the highest. So the main idea of Bhakti Yoga, the main idea of Bhagavad Gita is to become more attached to the desire to fulfill, more attached to fulfill Krishna's desires than our desires. Of course, we should make our desires be one with Krishna's desires and with spiritual master's desires as well. Like Arjuna, he told to Krishna that now I'm your disciple. Now you tell me what to do. The same idea, the same path is the path which Bhakti Yoga practitioners follow. First of all, we have to get to know what is the will of Supreme, will of Krishna, will of Bhagavan Shri Krishna in our particular situation, what he wants from us. So Bhakti Yogi or devotee of Krishna is one who is interested in Krishna's will, what Krishna wants from us. And such living entity is quite rare because mostly people, they are interested in what they want from Supreme or what they want from others. But we try to develop this habit or inclination, good habit, about creating good habits. What good habit we can create in our life to arrange our life management, this habit. What Krishna wants from me, what spiritual master wants from me, what Srila Prabhupada wants from me, what they want from me, because they know better than I know what is better for me. They know. Supreme Lord is Trikalagya. He knows past, present, and future. He knows everything. He knows what is better for me. So if we know what he wants from us, it is ideal life management, and it is ideal good habit to be interested in what Krishna wants from us. What is his supreme will? And in such a way, Krishna will be interested in us. His attention will be attracted to us, and he will participate in our life. He will participate in our life, and he will arrange everything in our life which is ideal to achieve Parama Artha, the highest goal of life, which is to go back home, back to Godhead, and to be with Krishna always, to be with Krishna always. So this Bhagavad Gita is exactly about this. So let's speak about Raga and Dvesha, how it works. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains about the power of of what? Of sex enjoyment. Sex enjoyment. Sex enjoyment is a necessity for the conditioned soul. Srila Prabhupada writes here. So it should be restricted. We have 4 regulative principles in ISKCON. And it is called not just 4 regulative principles, it is called 4 regulative principles of freedom. The conception of freedom can be different. It differs because people differs. There are different people. Some people, they consider that freedom, it is just when I do whatever I want to do. And some people, they understand basically that if I will if I will act just according to my desires, it will lead to some negative consequences. So this freedom is not real freedom. So why we call these regulative principles to be regulative principles of freedom? Because it gives highest freedom, higher freedom, freedom from our whimsical desires, from our urges. Sometimes we want something and it is beneficial for us. Sometimes it is not beneficial for us. And the freedom is to be not so much dependent on these impulses, on these urges that are coming out from our samskara vasana, from our chitta. Chitta means subconscious mind, chitta. In this chitta, all these impressions from past lives, from time immemorial are here. So we live our life and sometimes something coming out from this lake of our mind. From this lake of our mind, some samskaras are coming from this samskara vasana. And it means what? It means that out of sudden, we experience some particular desire. I want this, I want that. And this particular desire is burning like anything. Before, just maybe one day before, 1 week before, we didn't feel this desire, we didn't experience this desire, but out of sudden something comes out in our consciousness. So it is called samskara. And here in Bhagavad Gita, in the verse number 3.34, Krishna explains to Arjuna that you please become beyond or don't come under the control of such attachment and aversion, because they are stumbling blocks on the path of self-realization. What does it mean, stumbling blocks? Stumbling block, it means that we're not so much interested in fulfilling Krishna's will, but we are interested more in fulfilling this particular instant, desire which came out of sudden, and we don't know, is it beneficial for us or it is not beneficial for us. So what spiritual practitioners do? Spiritual practitioners, they are not so much confident about their own opinion, what is beneficial for me and what is not beneficial for me. They are not so much confident. They are under spiritual guidance. So when they want something, when they have some desire, out of sudden, some desire, some idea, then they approach guru, or they approach some counselors or some senior devotees, some seniors. They approach them and they ask them, will it be beneficial for me or it will not be beneficial for me? And some of you can think that it is a childish approach to life because we have to be responsible in our life and we have to take this responsibility and to make our own choice and to take our own decisions. Yes, from one point of view, it is so. We have to take this responsibility. But because we're not so much experienced to understand what is beneficial for us, what is not beneficial for us from spiritual point of view. From spiritual point of view. From material point of view, everything is clear. Everything is clear. More money means more happiness. More prestige means more happiness. More followers means more happiness. From material point of view, it is quite clear. It is easy to understand. But it is spiritual movement. And from spiritual point of view, what was considered to be beneficial from what was considered to be nice from material point of view is not always considered to be beneficial from spiritual point of view. That is the science. So if we are just beginners in this spiritual science, we should approach those who are more experienced, and you approach Ravindaksh Madhav Prabhu and others, and they will give you some advices, and you also visit ISKCON temples, and they will tell you what to do if you have some inquiries and questions, and so on and so on. The idea is not that we allow other people to live our own life. The idea is that we want this guidance, we want this consultation from those who are more experienced in spiritual life to understand what is more beneficial for my spiritual life. In other forms of life, species of life, like animals, insects, and so on, also different material activities are performed. But spiritual life is available, is possible mainly in human form only, in human form and in other forms of life that are higher than human form of life. So it is our privilege, it is our special option that we have now. And but because we are beginners in our spiritual life, so because of this, we read this Bhagavad Gita, which is meant for beginners in spiritual life. Srila Prabhupada gave us the main instructions that are here in Bhagavad Gita, in Nectar of Instruction, in Nectar of Devotion, in Srimad Bhagavatam, in other books, and everything is given. And it is the basis of spiritual life. So one should not come under the control of such attachment and aversion, because it is the level of senses, it is the level of mind, and mind is conditioned, and senses are also conditioned, and lust or karma is located in mind, senses, and intelligence of conditioned soul. Now we will go to our slides. It was the verse, and we will open the slides, but before we will open the chat, and let's see what is here in the chat. Okay, it is links. It is you can see the links on WhatsApp chat here in the chat, in this chat, in Zoom chat. Okay, we're going to the slides. So kama and prema. Prema means love for Godhead. It is our goal, and prema, it is the opposite. So these two forces are inside the conditioned living entity. Prema is also here, is also inside, but in dormant condition. And it is about prema. And kama is here in active condition, because otherwise how we can be active in material world? In order to be active in material world, one should be interested in materialistic activities. So this particular power, this particular force is here, and according to Bhagavad Gita, it is our enemy, and you will be discussing this in details in your groups. Ravindaksh Madhav Prabhu told it, and it will be arranged, and really I am happy to participate in this in your on your course, and I will be and I was impressed by this introduction, video introduction, when we saw these opinions of Narendra Modi and Tulasi Gabbard and other famous people who are inspired to read this Bhagavad Gita, this eternal spiritual message meant for the whole humanity. It doesn't depend on nation or on country. It is international and interplanetary message for each and every living entity. So this lust should be conquered. Lust causes material entanglement, and this lust covers us. There are 3 degrees of covering. You will be discussing this in your group. And lust, it is like a fire. It is never satisfied, never satisfied. There is one desire. It came out from our consciousness. Everything was nice. Suddenly it came out. You fulfill it. But after this, another desire, next desire burns. Sound is burning like a fire, and burning, and one feels anxiety about this. One is in the stress. I need to get it. I want to get it. So one should conquer this lust, this kama. 3 locations of lust. Indriyani manobudhir. Indriyani manobudhir. Indriya means senses, and mano means manas, mind, and budhir means intelligence. So all the 3 are affected by lust when living entity is conditioned. And there is a way how it can be controlled. In the verse number 42, you will get to know that senses are beyond the matter, and mind is beyond the senses, and intelligence is beyond the mind, and soul is beyond everything, and we're spiritual souls. So, so our way, how we can control this situation and how we can arrange the ideal life management, it is to create nice habit, good habit, to make our mind steady by the force of spiritual intelligence. We should straighten our intelligence and to spiritualize our intelligence. And we do it by chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We do this by chanting of holy names. We do it by associating with devotees of Krishna. We do it by reading and studying Shastras like Bhagavad Gita. And by this way, spiritual intelligence becomes stronger and stronger, and we get more spiritual taste. Vishaya vinivartante nirahara dehinach rasovarjam rasopyasya param drishtva vartate. And we get this higher taste, and we get intelligence, which is more powerful than mind. And after intelligence becomes more stronger than mind, then and it becomes spiritualized, purified, then mind can be controlled by this intelligence. Intelligence means I understand what is beneficial for my spiritual life and for my life in whole, and what is not beneficial. It is the functions of intelligence. And the functions of mind is what do I want and what I don't want. Sankalpa Vikalpa. What do I like and what I don't like. And because of this materialistic samskaras, sometimes we like something that is not beneficial for spiritual life, and we don't like something which is we like something which is not beneficial for spiritual life, and we don't like something which is beneficial. So in such a way, this mind plays role of our enemy in spiritual life. So in order to control all the situation and to create our life management, spiritual life management, this mind should be controlled by intelligence. And intelligence is controlled by what? By spiritual wisdom, by Yogamaya. Yogamaya means internal energy of the Lord, spiritual energy of the Lord. And we are in contact with the spiritual energy each and every time, and we spiritualized our consciousness each and every time when we keep in touch with Bhagavad Gita, with holy names, with devotees, and so on. So it is our goal to become more and more Krishna consciousness. It is our real goal, and it is our real benefit. In such way, we can be benefited. Krishna says how we can be benefited. For the benefit of Arjuna, he told this Bhagavad Gita 5,000 years ago, and this Bhagavad Gita is meant also for each and every living entity who can read books and who can understand these books. And if one cannot understand by his own efforts, then one should just accept spiritual guidance. Spiritual guidance. About this spiritual guidance, Krishna will tell in the next chapter, fourth chapter, when Krishna says to Arjuna, Tadvidhi pranipatana pariprashnena sevaya, upadakshyanti te gyanam yanina statva darshanaha. You just surrender yourself to the spiritual master, serve him, and ask him spiritual questions in submissive mood, and in such way you will be spiritually benefited, and spiritual wisdom, spiritual knowledge will be given to you. Spiritual wisdom, it is not just information. Spiritual wisdom, spiritual knowledge, it means particular state of consciousness, particular type of consciousness that one can attain by practicing bhakti yoga, by practicing Krishna consciousness. To get knowledge, it is not just to read books. It also includes to read books, but also some spiritual experience is also needed here. Hare Krishna, thank you very much for your kind attention. Now, if you have some questions, some ideas, some thoughts, then let's discuss it. Hare Krishna. Where is the administrator?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So, thank you. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. So what about questions or what we are doing now?
Hare Krishna. Thank
Hare
you so
Krishna.
much. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for your precious time. But now we request participants, they can ask questions directly to Prabhuji by unmuting their mic. And now just I'm changing setting. Allow participants to unmute themselves. Okay.
Okay, great.
अभी आप अपने आप को अनम्यूट कर सकते हैं और अनम्यूट करके डायरेक्टली क्वेश्चन पूछ सकते हैं. प्रभु जी को थोड़ी थोड़ी इंग्लिश आती है समझ में, इसलिए थोड़ी थोड़ी हिंदी आती है समझ में, इसलिए मैं हिंदी बोल रहा हूँ. प्रभु जी, you understands Hindi little bit, that's why I'm speaking in Hindi.
I know about 4 or 5 words in Hindi, like karsakte and so on. Not more than 5 words, so it means that my command of Hindi is quite poor.
Okay. Any questions from audience?
We have questions in the chat. One question in the chat already came. How do we know which desires are good or which are bad? Well, Arindakshmadu Prabhu, should I advise particular book, Srila Prabhupada's book, for this to answer, when I will be answering this question? Is it possible? Okay, then you just go to the nearest ISKCON temple and you buy Nectar of Instruction book and you read verses number 2 and 3. And in these particular verses, verse number 2, verse number 3, the activities that are beneficial for a spiritual life and that are not beneficial for a spiritual life are mentioned, and the detailed purport is also given, so in such way you can understand. And each and every case, each and every time when something is not clear for us, we also approach our seniors, our spiritual masters to whom we trust, and we accept their merciful advices. Hare Krishna. Okay, now it was the
Hare
question
Krishna,
from
Prabhuji.
chat. Yes, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, in shlok number 2.32, Krishna Bhagavan is telling that those who disregard my teachings, they will suffer with so and so problems.
Yeah.
They will be ruined in their endeavors for perfection, etc., etc.
Mm-hmm.
But in popular culture, when we see that, like in Ramayana, when we see that in the end, when Ravan gets killed by Lord Ram, then he attains the mukti and he attains liberation from this reincarnation and all those bondages. So for all his entire life, he was disregarding the teachings. But in the end time, it is taught to us in a typical Indian society that he knew it all beforehand only, and that is why he wanted to get killed by Lord Ram, and that is why he he got liberated. So don't you think that there is a contrast between these two stories and the shloka?
There is no contrast because there is a story of this Ravana. This story is mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam, the third canto. There is a story of Jai and Vijay, who were doorkeepers on Vaikuntha. This story says that once upon a time, 4 Kumaras came to the gates of Vaikuntha, and these 2 doorkeepers, they saw these 4 Kumaras, and as we know, 4 Kumaras, they travel everywhere in the form of naked children in the age about 4 or 5, like this. So Jai and Vijay decided that these children, because they have no clothes, and who knows what children will decide to do there, so better not to allow them to enter Vaikuntha. Then 4 Kumaras felt themselves offended or because of such Jai and Vijay behavior, and they told that yes, you are doorkeepers of Vaikuntha, but your consciousness is not Vaikuntha consciousness. Your consciousness is not spiritual consciousness. You don't understand who we are. You don't understand who we are. And then suddenly Supreme Lord came and he explained that actually this particular story was arranged by me, by myself personally, just in order to have a reason to send Jai and Vijay in material world. And then the choice was given to Jai and Vijay. They could have some birth in material world in form of devotees, and another choice to have a birth in material world in form of demons. And because when in this case of being born like demons, they had to be born less times in material world, so they have chosen to be born in material world, to come in material world in form of demons, like Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. They are Jai and Vijay. So Ravana is also one of them. Maybe Jai, maybe Vijay, I don't remember now, but it is the same story. So it is Krishna's arrangement. Internally, they are devotees. Hiranyaksha, Hiranyakashipu, we consider them to be demons. Externally, they are demons. And Ravana, externally, he is a demon, but he has also this story that he is, yes, he is demon, he is greatest demon, but at the same time, he is not a demon. He plays a role of a demon. And Shastra says that there are different races, different types of relationships between Supreme Lord and his associates, and there is so-called chivalry rasa, I think it is called in English, chivalry rasa, when Lord just wants to fight with someone, to fight with his so-called enemies. Of course, he doesn't have any enemies. And on Vaikuntha planets and on Galoka Vrindavana, he has no enemies. So in order to enjoy, to experience this rasa, this type of relationships with his so-called enemies, he comes to material world, and such lila, such pastime is arranged, like with Hiranyaksha and Varahadev, and Hiranyakashipu and Nrisimhadev, Ravana and Ramachandra, like this. So it was done for basically for Krishna's satisfaction, for Supreme Lord's satisfaction. And we cannot make a conclusion that Ravana is just ordinary karmic person, ordinary materialist, gross materialist, like common people, ordinary people. He is special one. Sometimes some people, they are famous, popular, and successful in material life, and at the same time they commit sinful activities, and one can ask, why is it so? So the answer is very simple. And in Bhagavad Gita, you will be reading, will be studying Bhagavad Gita further, and you will understand. The answer is very easy. There is some punya, some sukriti from the past. They have it. So because of this sukriti, because of this nice karma, good karma, they can enjoy. But when they enjoy, they spend this karma, they burn this good karma. So when
Hare Krishna. I think Prabhuji has lost his network. So, any more questions from audience side? If anyone wants to ask any question, then they can write in the chat box, or they can ask to us. Prabhuji will try to reconnect in a short while. Okay. कैसा लग रहा है आप सभी को? विक्की सर, how is this session? विक्की सर या फिर शशांक आप बता सकते हैं कैसा लग रहा है सेशन?
बढ़िया था प्रभु जी आज.
थैंक यू. और Richen is there. Richen is there with us. Richen, आप भी हैं हमारे साथ?
Yes, I am here, Prabhuji.
Okay. So अब मैं आप सभी से रिक्वेस्ट करना चाहता हूँ. I request you all that from Monday onwards we are organizing Gita sessions. So Gita sessions, आप Gita reading session आप सब attend कर सकते हैं. I'm just getting a WhatsApp call from Prabhuji. Just give me a second. Till the time, Lalit, you continue, please.
So, Shashank, you can share your experience, how you feel about.
Sorry, dear audience, sorry. It is because my battery on laptop was off.
Okay.
Because of this. Sorry.
Okay, no issues.
No issues. But
Thank you for a very elaborate answer.
So it is quite easy to understand. It is their karma, sukriti, punya. Because of this, they can enjoy for some period of time. But if at the same time they don't do anything to improve, to get more good karma, or better to get akarma, yes, or Krishna consciousness. If they don't get more good karma, then good karma will be finished and they will suffer like anything.
Actually, Prabhuji, what used to happen in my childhood, I used to think that for my entire life I'll be doing wrong things and in the end get killed by a pious soul.
Excuse me?
So then I would also be like liberated like Ravana.
Ravana is Ravana. We're not Ravanas.
Yes.
We should follow, we should accept Srila Prabhupada's path, his mercy, his kripa, and in such way we will get Parama Artha, highest result, this highest liberation. You know, Ravana is Ravana. Okay, so I can see that one person raises his head, but his name is written in Devanagari, or how do you call it? So I even cannot read it, you know. I even cannot read it. Please, Prabhuji, tell your question.
I think you can unmute yourself and ask your question.
Yes, sir. Hare Krishna, sir.
Hare Krishna.
Sir, can you listen to me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Sir, I had a question related to Ravana. Sir, Ravana was considered and is considered to be the most intellectual guy of the Vedic times, and he is indeed Shiva Bhakta, then how did he come to be so evil in the society, and how did he uplift the so what is the Gita's lessons from it, that if you are so intellectual, then how come you become evil? So
Oh, it is very easy. It is very easy. It is the answer on your question is in the 16th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, which is called Divine and Demonic Natures. Divine and Demonic Natures. Divine nature is one. Okay, the question in the chat, can we stretch the question and answer session? Okay, it is according to Aravindaksha Madhav Prabhu's desire, we will do accordingly. Okay. Divine and demonic natures, 16th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So, divine person is one who follows Krishna's will and sacred scriptures, one who follows accordingly, accepts this will and happy to follow this. And demonic nature, demons, are those who don't follow. They can even know Vedas, they can know sacred scriptures, Vedas, but they don't want to follow. They want to act according to their own desires, and moreover, they want to get the position of Supreme Lord, to attain this position, like Hiranyakashipu, for example. The desire, the situation is such. So by arrangement of Supreme, these demons can get power. And very nice example of nuclear weapon is given in the purports to this 16th chapter. Nuclear weapon, because in order to invent nuclear weapon, one has to have something here, right? It is such knowledge, such science, very elaborated knowledge. But the idea itself, the idea which is behind nuclear weapon is really demonic, to ruin the whole planet or to ruin the part of planet where some enemies are living. The idea is demonic, but the intelligence is given. So the answer is quite simple. There is material intelligence and there is spiritual intelligence. We can get spiritual intelligence by studying Bhagavad Gita, and we already have some material intelligence according to our karma. Some people are really intelligent from materialistic point of view. Some are not so much intelligent. It is according to our karma. Hare Krishna. Do we have some more questions, points to discuss, and so on? I feel myself really sorry that my battery went off and there was such break. Okay, the same person raises his hand. So please go
sir, Hare Krishna
ahead.
once again, sir. Thank you. Thanks
Yes.
a lot for answering my question, sir.
Uh-huh.
But my yet another question is about salvation and how to seek shelter in these desperate times that we are facing around the world now. That there is COVID, we are seeing fires burning, crematoriums filling up, and all these things. So how to stay positive in these times, and how to seek salvation in these desperate times also.
Desperate times. You know, in the 70s, when Srila Prabhupada was with us on this planet, people also were worried about the perspective of this nuclear war, atomic bomb, and so on. And Srila Prabhupada told that, yes, and about today's world example, we also will speak. So Srila Prabhupada told that anyway, we will be chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. It is the main idea. If we have facilities to do it, if we have material body, we can pray to Lord. Hare Krishna Mahamantra is Lord himself. We associate with him directly. If this particular material body will be ruined, then according to the arrangement of material nature, we will get another body, maybe on another planet, which is not damaged by nuclear weapon, in this case, for example, if we are speaking about nuclear weapon, will not be damaged, and we will get a body on another planet, which is where we will have this body, and we will be able to continue. Krishna arranges this. He says in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 15, Sarvasya chaham hridisanu vishtu matah smriti irgyanam apochanam cha. I'm situated in the heart of each and every living entity, and from me, knowledge, forgetfulness, and remembrance comes. So remembrance comes from Krishna. Krishna is in the heart of each and every living entity, and being born on another planet, by Krishna's mercy, by Krishna's grace, we will be able to remember or to come back again to the spiritual path and to continue. The same story is with COVID-19. We should take all the precautions like masks and this antiseptic and vaccines and everything. At the same time, even if this COVID will be defeated anyway, we're in material world, and on each and every step there are some difficulties and troubles. Not only this virus, but wars and disasters and fires and tsunami and earthquakes and so on and so on. So anyway, the situation is such that there is our spiritual life, and at the same time, simultaneously, different troubles are going on. So our idea is such that we try to arrange our life in such a way that not to face with these troubles, to be in the safe place, for example, to take the precautions. At the same time, we use our capacity, this human body, which is meant for spiritual advancement, we use it for spiritual activities. We are chanting Hare Krishna. Means what? Means we are doing what depends on us. And Krishna does what depends on him. And all the rest depends on him. Something depends on us. We are doing what depends on us. And we rely on Krishna, what depends on him. And even if material body will be destroyed, anyway, we are spiritual souls, as it was told in the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So from this perspective, from this point of view, there is no harm, because all the endeavors, spiritual endeavors, are here. We do something. We did this work, spiritual work, and the fruits of this work are always with us. It is the difference between work which we made here in material world. For example, we decided to build the skyscraper, and we didn't finish this work, and we left our body because of some reasons. So this work is not finished, and the next life we cannot use these fruits of this work. It is useless. But in the case of spiritual life, like it was said in the same Bhagavad Gita, verse 2.40, you can just check the previous chapter. All the endeavors are with us for eternal time. There is no loss on this path. So if we are concerned about what we can do in our current situation, sometimes we can do a lot, sometimes we can do a little. But the idea of a devotee of Krishna, that let me do what I can do, and let me rely on Krishna on what doesn't depend on me. Does it answer on your question? Does it answer on your question?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, Maharaj.
I'm not Maharaj. What you're saying? I'm not Maharaj. Thank you very much.
Shruti. Yeah, Shruti wants to ask question.
Shruti, please go on. Go ahead.
Hare Krishna, sir.
Hare Krishna.
I had this query that while you were explaining us about the chapter, so you told us about the nature of the body. And I'm quite confused in that sense because, sir, how do we realize what is the real nature of our body and what is the purpose of our life? What is the goal and which karma should we be doing at present and this?
Well, I've got about 4 questions, right? You
Yes,
asked 4 questions, right?
yes, sir. I'm actually confused because in this only because what is the nature of the body? What is the karma we are supposed to do, and what is purpose of life?
Okay, again, let me not to forget your question. What is the purpose of body? What is the meaning of life? Then what else? Meaning of life, purpose of body.
So, what is the karma that we should be doing, and
What
what is
karma
the
should be doing?
purpose?
What should be purpose of life?
Yes, sir.
And nature of body.
Yes, sir.
Well, nature of material body is such that it is perishable. Material body is perishable. So until it can act, we should use these opportunities to do spiritual practices. We can do it, then we should do it. If one doesn't use his human body in spiritual life, but only like animals, uses his body in eating, sleeping, mating, and defending, then material nature, he looks on this particular living entity, decides, okay, he didn't use it, means he doesn't need it, means next life he will not get it, he will not get such body with this opportunity to be more conscious, to have this consciousness, to be able to read books, to speak, to discuss something, to analyze something, and so on, to have this conscious life like human beings can have. So what is not used will be taken away from us. It works like this, by law of karma. So material body is perishable, means in young age we can do physically much more that we can do when we are old, and we can use these opportunities of our body in Krishna consciousness to develop our Krishna consciousness, our spiritual consciousness. It is about body. So purpose of life is to not even to go back to Krishna, but to develop or to awake, not to develop, it is already inside us, to awake this dormant dormant love for Krishna that we have in our hearts now. Each and every living entity has it, but it is really in dormant condition, So we have to awake this dormant love, and in such way we will be naturally go back to Krishna. So our idea is not just to go back to Krishna, but to go back to particular state of consciousness, spiritual state of consciousness that will allow us to go back to Krishna. Otherwise, I'm joking, of course, but otherwise, if we will go back to Krishna, but without state of consciousness which is needed, for example, without service attitude, mood of service, spirit of service. I want to serve Krishna. So we went back to Goloka or to Vaikuntha, but we don't want to serve, but we went here. So what we will be doing here? So the main idea is to develop consciousness. And pure devotees, spiritual masters, and senior devotees, they help us to make our small steps on this path. Each and every day we can do some work, some activities that will make us closer to this goal, to Krishna, closer to Krishna. And which karma we should perform? We should perform akarma. Akarma means devotional service. Akarma in the sense that there is no bad karma and there is no good karma when we perform devotional service. Because karma, it can be good karma that makes us feel happiness here in material world. It can be bad karma. Because of this bad karma, we suffer. Like now we suffer because of this collective collective bad karma on this planet. We suffer because of this COVID-19, or we could suffer, for example, because of Third World War. But Krishna arranged that there is no war, but there is this virus, which is not so troublesome. Like if, for example, we had huge war on the planet, so it is not the worst. It is not the worst choice made by Krishna himself, just to make some people leave their bodies according to their karma. So we should perform devotional service, and in such way we develop this consciousness that makes us closer to Krishna, even in this lifetime. Even here, we are here in this planet Earth, but being on this planet, we can feel ourselves to be not so much affected by material distress, or even by material happiness. We can develop this consciousness. We can feel that we are much more motivated in spiritual sense to do something spiritual than to deal with material happiness or material distress. So it makes one to be a little bit aloof from all this what is going on around us. Aloof doesn't mean that we are how to say, that we are lethargic. This word was mentioned in the book. Aloof doesn't mean lethargic. We can be active, and at the same time, the source of our happiness, it is not external source of happiness. Some events, some movie stars, some musicians, some political news, some movies, and so on. No, one becomes much more happier because of his spiritual life, and this spiritual happiness is much more deeper and much more stable. It is eternal source of happiness, spiritual life, because spiritual energy has this nature to be eternal. Everything is eternal in spiritual world. And here, that's coming back to your first question. And here in material world, everything is perishable, and the nature of material body is also perishable. Now, when we are young, we are handsome or beautiful, but after some dozen of years, we will be looking in another way. So some people, they are unhappy to see that their face becomes, how to say, wrinkled. Some people, they are unhappy, but some people who understand that actually I'm not this body, I'm spiritual soul. So these spiritual practitioners, they're not so much worried about this because they know essence of life. Essence of life. Thank you very much for your nice questions. Does it answer your questions?
Yes, it does answer them. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna, sir.
Okay, what should we do now?
Okay, thank you so much, Prabhuji, for your divine words, or very valuable.
Not so much divine. Not so much divine.
And you have explained very nicely, very humbly about Krishna consciousness, about the message of Gita. Now, just for last 5 minutes, I request you to please explain something about Srila Prabhupada. Just last 5 minutes.
In 5 minutes?
Yeah.
Oh, of course it is not so easy to do it in 5 minutes. It is quite simple. Srila Prabhupada is Shakti Vesha Avatara. Shakti Vesha Avatara means what? Avatara means one who descends from spiritual abode, from spiritual world. And Shakti Vesha means one who is empowered. Empowered, he has spiritual power and spiritual empowerment. It means, in case of Srila Prabhupada, he is empowered, and he how to say, he used this empowerment, empowered to spread Krishna consciousness all around the world, to spread this Vaishnavism religion. Of course, we don't call ourselves to be just a religion. We are not just religion, we're a science, because the result of Krishna consciousness spiritual practice is predictable. And it is scientific approach. When something is predictable, we know some process, and the result of this process is predictable, we can say that this particular process is scientific. In this sense, we're a science also. So his empowerment is to spread Krishna consciousness all around the world, and he did it basically. And before him, no one can do it. And it is not so easy to do it in the age of 69, when he went to America, to United States in 1965. In 1965, so he opened about 100 plus temples, ISKCON temples, about 108, as they say, and he initiated in Krishna consciousness about around 5,000 disciples, 5,000 people, and he wrote a lot of books, and he was very active during these 10 years or 12 years when he was on preaching on the West. And we can see that basically it is impossible for ordinary person to be so active in such age and to manifest such exalted spiritual qualities like Srila Prabhupada was manifesting. These spiritual qualities we cannot list. We cannot list all these qualities in these 5 minutes, like I was asked to tell about Srila Prabhupada. So what I can recommend, you can buy Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita book in nearest ISKCON temple, and you can read about this personality, about the special personality who came by Krishna's arrangement and by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's arrangement to this planet in order to save not only Westerns, but to save all the world by giving Krishna consciousness. And it is said in Sri Chaitanya Mangala, the appearance, Srila Prabhupada appearance is predicted. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says in Sri Chaitanya Mangala, his Supreme Lord, he says that if some people in India will try to escape from my mercy, from my spiritual mercy, then what I will do, I will send so-called Sinapati Bhakta to these countries that are situated. There is India, there is the sea, and further there are some countries, and I will send my Sinapati Bhakta to these countries. And Sinapati means what? Sinapati means one who is in charge of the army, battle commander. So it means that it is the battle with illusion, with avidya. When one gives spiritual knowledge, he is on the battle because he has to ruin some misconceptions in the minds of the listeners. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came 500 years ago, and Srila Prabhupada also by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's will came here not in order to kill demons like Ravana, Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyaksha, but to kill this demoniac mentality in the minds of whom? Of each and every living entity, in our minds, basically, in our minds, to spiritualize our consciousness and to purify our consciousness and to make us closer to Krishna. A lot of qualities Srila Prabhupada has. You can find on YouTube, you can find his videos, you can read Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita. It is the ocean. It is the ocean. There's not just ordinary person about which we can say that he was born in such year and he died in this year, and in between he did something. For example, he was in charge of some factory. That's all. He was in charge of some fact. No, Srila Prabhupada, he did a lot, and his qualities are really exalted and spiritual. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for taking out time to enlighten us about the message of Bhagavad Gita. And
thank you, Prabhuji, for giving me this opportunity. It was Aravindaksha Madhav Prabhu who invited me mercifully here. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji.
He invited me. He invited.
So we, as our Vaishnav culture, as our Vedic culture, we thank Prabhuji by loudly chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram,
Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
तो आप सभी लोगों से रिक्वेस्ट है कि फीडबैक फॉर्म आप जरूर फिल कर दीजिए और हमारे गीता रीडिंग सेशन को आप ज्वाइन करिए. Monday to Friday we do Gita reading in evening 7 to 8 p.m. So you all are invited. I request you to please join our WhatsApp group to read Gita, to understand Gita and to live Gita. बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. Very many thanks to all the participants for joining us. So we'll wait tomorrow at 5 p.m. 5 p.m. tomorrow we are meeting again to discuss about chapter 4 and chapter 5. Tomorrow we are going to cover two chapters, chapter 4 and chapter 5. Tomorrow we are going to cover. So please don't miss the opportunity and join us tomorrow at 5 p.m. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Aravindaksha Madhav Prabhu, what should I do? Should I go leave the conference?
Yes,
or
yes.
What is going on now? Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much
Now we are going to end this meeting.
For the opportunity to speak with all of you. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you everyone for joining. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Those who have filled the form can leave the session.